Hey, my name is Marla, and I am a neo-soul singer-songwriter with a BA in opera. And this is Let Me Live My Life, a show about funny, talented nobodies. And the reason that I decided to create this show is because I am somebody who feels very deeply. I am a soft-hearted big mouth. And basically, I would wake up in the morning, please don't do this to yourself. I can't help myself, but please don't do this to yourself. And I would wake up and I would look at my phone and I would go through social media and see all of these people who are curating this amazing journey in music or in the arts who look like they are killing it. And I would feel like a failure. And it would fill me with anxiety. And I would be like, look at them, they're killing it and I suck. This is not going well. I'm a failure. And the thing is, as far as the industry is concerned, I am a failure. Because I'm in my mid-30s, I've had a lot of moments where it could go to that next step and I'm on the cusp of that next level. And for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out. Like my most recent team was the guy that told Michael Bublé that he should be a crooner, not a pop star, and kind of gave him his start. The guy that gave Katie Lang her first start, that got her first record deal. I've sung with Sarah McLachlan and Tom Cochrane and have had these amazing opportunities. And then nothing has come of it. A lot of talk, a lot of promises, but nothing has come of it. And I remember my therapist saying to me, Marla, if you had had the success that you want at 20, you would probably be dead. And by that she means because I wasn't a full person, because I grew up in a space where I was not really accepted, and so I was performative in order to find my self-worth. If I had been able to have success and have the world staring at me, it would have been way too much for me. And I wouldn't have known how to stay in my skin and be present and know who I was outside of what was being reflected back to me. It would have been way too much, and there would have maybe been addiction problems or whatever. I would have imploded in on myself. This show is a cure for curation. That's the point, is that I know you're anxious, and I know you feel like, how is this gonna work? I don't have a choice but to do this, but it feels like a cruel joke half the time. People are jealous of us because they're like, oh, you can write music, or oh, you're an amazing musician, or oh, you can, anything in the arts, right? Oh, good, lucky you. Sure, okay, my voice is my best friend and I don't know what I would do without it. But the other side of this coin feels sometimes like a curse. And I know Elizabeth Gilbert would shame me about this. Like she's like, don't talk like the way about your gift. But I'm sorry, Big Magic. It sucks sometimes because you go, I don't have a choice but to do this, but I keep on getting knocked back by these 5 gatekeepers, who say, oh, we're not really interested, but cool. And you go like it never ends. When you wake up, it's what you think about. When you're going to bed, it's what you think about. But it only takes one song, so says Judy Stakey. It only takes one song, it only takes one opportunity. And I have to tell you, and listen to me when I say this, there is a path for you, just for you. And everything that is happening, everything that has happened, where you have been rejected, where your songs, you've been told that your songs suck, or people don't like them, or they don't get them, everything that you thought was gonna happen that didn't happen is for your betterment in the long run. You'll look back on it and be like, thank goodness. Because here's the thing. There are tools that you need to acquire. There are muscles that you need to build that success cannot help you build. Success is not a teacher in the same way that failure is. And I tell you this because I am a resilient chick, because I have had a lot of letdowns. But a path has opened up for me, and that is you. I see you. And you need to see other people who have real experiences in the music industry, especially, who have felt the rejection, who have had amazing highs. There are people who I've interviewed for this show that will be coming up in the next couple of months who are on the cusp of being a name that you'll know. But for now, they're nobodies. And we get to hear their real stories of what was hard for them, what was easy, and how they made it through from what they thought it was going to look like to what it really did look like. So I am a soft-hearted big mouth. I grew up in a fundamentalist evangelical family, which makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. And basically, I was way too much. I know the feeling of growing up in a system where you don't fit, and no one necessarily says it out loud, but you can feel it. The energy is saying to you, whether it's the side eye of the women in the church or whatever, the atmosphere is saying, you don't belong here. I was someone who, even without saying words, my energy filled up the room when I got there. And when the zeitgeist of where you are is really women are being prepared for marriage and to give birth to babies, when you're someone who is cracking jokes and who has some opinions, it's not really acceptable. Also, I was always somebody that had boobs and a bum. And so that was a threat. I was a threat because I had ideas and I felt like I needed to express them. And I was a threat because I didn't feel like my spaghetti straps were reason enough for a guy to think disgusting thoughts. Girls that grow up in the church, at least the churches that I'm familiar with, and maybe in the nouveau church of today, there are exceptions to this. But let me tell you, fundamentalist evangelical, this system today has been co-opted by capitalism and is a child of the patriarchy. So they teach girls about this purity thing, purity culture, where basically your body belongs to Jesus and then it belongs to your future husband, but it doesn't belong to you. But what does belong to you is the shame of you look to this, to that, to whatever. So don't make your brother stumble because men are animals and don't need to take responsibility for their penises. But if you wear spaghetti straps or something sleeveless, oh, heaven forbid, then your shoulders are showing and Timmy in the back is thinking disgusting things and it's your fault. So put your shoulders away. I'm not sure. So when you grow up like me, for example, there was a girl I went to high school with. Amazing girl, amazing singer, and she was the sweetest human being, and she had great curves. And I remember people talked about her. People talked so much shit about her, about how she was a slut. She was a virgin. But people looked at her like, because of the thoughts that the dudes had, that she must be culpable. It's probably her fault. Just because what? Her body grew that way. Here's the thing, I didn't belong because I'm extra. So if you didn't belong because of something about yourself, you belong here with me. Marianne Williamson says, as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And I am letting a light shine. I am holding up a light. For all of you who are struggling with your art and your craft and you feel totally alone, you have a space with me. For all of you who would call themselves ex-vangelical, a lot of consonants in that one, or grew up in some kind of system that told you that you were unacceptable for just being yourself, there's room for you here. I will make a space for you. It's about vulnerability. And I am not scared to be vulnerable. I am scared of showing my guts and my heart, my ass, and it being weaponized against me. But I'm gonna tell you that any trolls on this channel, I will block them and I will erase their shit. I do not care. Tell me about free speech, whatever, but that toxic masculinity does not have a place here. This is a place for us. This is a place for music and laughter and real shit. And honestly, I am afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to not curate myself and to be real for you. The amount of light I have on me right now is blinding because I don't want you to see that I am in my mid-30s. And if you look at my Instagram page, it is curated as fuck. I have Tyra Banks the shit out of that page. And that's fear, right? We are terrified because the world presently tells women especially that they need to be cellulite-free, wrinkle-free, beautiful, ornate creatures with no flaws. And it's toxic for us. We are digesting it every day, and we are digesting the patriarchy in the form of Instagram every day. It's funny because we have more liberation than we've ever had, but we also are curating ourselves and taking away all of our flaws and setting a standard that is impossible every day, more than ever. But I'm gonna make a commitment that instead of looking at the monitor on top of my camera and being like, and fully like getting my angles and smizing and whatever the fuck, that I will look like a real person. I'm afraid that that the camera adds 15 or 20 pounds or whatever, and people won't take me seriously and listen to me because I'm not a waif. I'm afraid that people will see me sometimes looking like this, and they will see that realness and they'll go, ooh, and they'll say shitty things. But I'm willing to take the chance because I think that this is a necessary cure for what is killing us. I'm terrified. I'm terrified, but you are worth it. And I don't want any of this curated perfection bullshit between us, because we need real people, real stories, real vulnerability, because that is the cure for this anxiety. I am here with real shit. I'm gonna put off getting Botox and fillers and maybe a little more lip. I want to, but I feel like, you know, my job in this channel is to laugh about all of the stuff that we are struggling with, but also to be a real human being. Because the me of 10 years ago, before I started therapy, when all of this was empty, trying to walk into the world as something aesthetically pleasing so that I could get enough from the men I saw on the street to feel okay about existing. That woman needs this. That woman who was unacceptable and too much, and who has this gift but had no idea that there are other people who are struggling in the same community and on a very similar path, but also it was gonna be okay. So I'm making this for her because I know that there are a lot of people out there who feel really alone. And if you feel that way, if you feel like you're in the arts and you keep on throwing it up against the wall and nothing sticks and you're very discouraged, I get it. If you're somebody who, for whatever reason, was not accepted by your family or the church or organizations that you grew up in, I get it. And I'm here to tell you that I will hold up a light and I will illuminate others who will do the same, and we will create a space that is safe. So I wrote this as like the jingle for this. So we'll see if it ends up being a thing or if it's just for this one and I go back to the drawing board. We'll see. Let me live my life, let me be myself, so I will funny, funny, talented nobodies. All right, guys, I love you, and I mean it. Next week, Lexi Street is my guest, and she is friggin' hilarious. We have a great conversation about her 30 years in the music industry, some of the great things that she's experienced, and now she's a mom as well as a songwriter and a wife, and it's complicated, and it's fantastic. The interview is awesome. If you're into it and you want to know when I'm back, subscribe and ring the little bell. Also, I'd love to hear your stories. If you have stories, if you would call yourself an ex-vangelical, or your spiritual journey has been one similar to mine, or whatever, if you see yourself in this, I want to hear your story. So write me or write something in the comments, because we gotta build something here. There is a need. All right, have the best day.